number in your head right now that you're thinking, that's the number of people that you're probably going to need to let go in your business once you get AI fully up and running? My question is, what's that number for you? What do you think that replacement number is that AI can cover in human capital that it does in productivity? So most people think this. In fact, it's everywhere. You cannot open your computer or a phone or go anywhere without hearing another story of another executive CEO talking about how there's going to be a significant decline in the workforce, that the employees are in trouble, the layoffs are mounting. So far this year, we've had over 136,000 layoffs in companies. And so it seems to be true. But the question we're going to tackle today is it necessary? And what I'm going to propose is that maybe it's not. Maybe what's really happening is laziness in a company. Yes, there are companies like Klarna who went from over 7,000 employees down to 3,300. Same thing with ClickUp, cut 22% of their workforce. And you know what happened? They ended up hiring them back. So in this rush to be the leader, to be out front, some people are just not thinking. They're hearing the buzz, but they're not setting themselves up for success, and they're setting their staff, their culture, and their business up for failure. So we're going to solve this today. And what we're saying today is that you don't have to fire everybody, all right? What's really going on is that not everybody has to go. Okay, and we're going to talk today about AI without the layoffs. Yes, it is going to reduce some jobs. The question is which jobs and are they necessary? Now, I want to start this off by saying it's not just one or the other, okay? There's a number, right? And what is the number for you? What is the number that you're thinking? A lot of people just don't even know. And so they just sort of go wholesale on their staff and get rid of everybody. Or they think, wow, this person is a salary of 80,000 and the AI might be $2,000 or $3,000 or $4,000, $5,000 a year. So why wouldn't I let them go, right? It seems logical, but is it really applicable in the business? And this is really the thing that people are missing. And I really want to get your attention on this so that you don't cause damage in your own company. And so let's kind of take a closer look at this, because this is the message that's going on out there. Cut now, get rid of everybody, or you'll get cut. Like if you are not on it, you're going to lose out. And there is a big aspect to this. We talk about this, right? That if you are not starting at least to think about how do you build an AI-powered workforce and design one, then you might be left out, because once those forward movers really take off, it can be difficult to catch up. And so what I want you to think about is this really true? Are you being sold a bunch of goods, or are you actually getting the facts? So that number that you're thinking is probably wrong. And there's a reason for it, because most people come up with the number intellectually without doing the work that is required before this happens. And so let's talk about this a little bit more, right? When you look at your business, are you at a point right now where your business could really take off if you increased your headcount? Or are you more focused on, well, my profits might increase if I cut my headcount? So there's sometimes two sides of it. Are you focused on the growth, or are you focused on the savings? And the question is not that simple, because you have to actually take a forensic look at your business. You actually have to do what we say is a owner's bottleneck check, okay? And do a checkup from the bottleneck up. You are trying to figure out What is wrong in the company? Why is it not profitable enough? Why is it not moving forward fast enough? Why are you not getting enough productivity out of it? And why are your competitors passing you by? There's a lot of reasons for all of this. So we like to do what we call tips, right? It's the Iconic Profit software. And this is a forensic look at your business. So we can tell you before you make any of these moves and make, crazy cuts that are unnecessary, like Klarna and ClickUp and some others, actually make an intelligent decision, intelligent move forward, so you don't waste time. And the short amount of time, a couple hours that it takes to figure out what is the right move, is much better than blowing through your entire workforce. So how do you get this number right? Well, if you want to do the owner's bottleneck check, you can just type bottleneck down below, and you can go to our website, iconicbusinessadvisors.com, and /bottleneck quiz. And you can take the quiz. It's going to take you about 3 minutes, and it's going to tell you exactly what's wrong in your business, exactly what your next steps are, so that you can move forward and find out what is the next role for AI in your business. So you don't want to just, go through this haphazardly. You want a structure that will put a golden line right through exactly what you need to do. Is this making sense? So we're going to be diving deep into a lot of these truths and fallacies that are coming up, because what we have built is the actual structure that needs to be happening, the conversation that needs to be going on right now when it comes to AI, is to actually look at the workforce and designing it, not just chopping it down. And so, it's about having the right kind of judgment around it, thinking about it in a different way, because what's happening out there is people are thinking from the old standpoint of the factory, right? Oh, if the factory slows down and it's not going fast enough, you get rid of somebody, or you cut out a part or something like that. These are human lives. We can't be so irrespectful of that. So what we want to do is have a new way of looking at it, not from this old 120-year-old perspective of treating a business today, the way it runs today, like a factory business. And so what you want to think about is there are ways to design it. Most people think that they're overstaffed. And what we're trying to tell you is that you're actually under-designed, right? And there's 2 layers to each role, but most people don't understand that. So if you take a look at this, look at the 2 different roles that you have, right? And the volume of work, this actually becomes a physics problem, right? What does physics tell you? That energy cannot be destroyed, but it does move around, right? And so when you think about the workforce capital that you have, it's not about destroying it. It's about moving it into the right place and taking it away from all the tasks and focusing on the judgment, right? And before, what did people do? They were just focused on tasks. Like, what do you do? When do you do it? Who's going to take over this role? Who's going to take over that role? But what it's really about is you need oversight of that. And before, we didn't have that. We had the people doing everything and thinking this is the right thing. Now, if you can automate that, if you can take away some of those skills and some of those tasks and put those into an automation cycle by an agentic workforce, then you can keep the human there as the human on the loop, as we say, who can make the judgment calls on what's next. And what happens here is really what's really powerful with the companies that are succeeding with AI is that they're actually able to connect more H to H, human to human. Because as we get more and more into an agentic world and an AI world, people are craving human touch, human interaction. Intimacy is gold right now. And you can see it in the world. Look at, as we come around to summer and all of these graduation speeches are coming and famous people are getting up there talking, and they're getting booed about AI. Why? Because they're forgetting about the human component, right? It's not just about becoming a bot in a drawer, waiting for the singularity to happen and live forever as, a tube. That is not it. I wrote this about this in my book, Soar, that that is really not the goal. That's not what we're trying to do. And people think that's what we're supposed to do, but it's actually a lie. So there's a study that came out from Anthropic. And what they did, and this is where a lot of the scary news came out, is that they said that the capacity of AI to take over a workforce is actually pretty high. It's at 94%. So that is the capacity. But let's be honest, the reality is that it's really only happening at about 33%. So while AI could take over a lot, it really isn't happening. It's not there yet. And so what we're talking about is there's a bigger runway here. It's not a ticking time bomb or a clock that's counting down the minutes and the seconds until your job doesn't exist anymore. It's actually about, okay, how can we set up, right, a runway for our business to take off, knowing where it could go and having the right people, not destroying it, because you can't destroy energy like in physics, but you can actually move it around. These are chess pieces on a board. And what happens when the chess game is over? There's no more pieces on the board. You can't just build billion-dollar, trillion-dollar companies with one person, right? This is an economy. And so who was it? Who was the president said it's the economy, stupid, right? So you are building a workforce. We're designing a workforce so that your company can actually put out the information that, and the tools and resources and the intellect that you want to share with the world. So the key is, so when AI comes in, it doesn't mean that everything has to go, okay? Think of it just as rearranging some deck chairs, but don't make your business the Titanic. That's not what we're trying to do. So what you want to think about is something like this, right? Is that the different tasks get redistributed around, okay? But the value that's coming out of this is that you're moving the people, and a good person moves somewhere where the traditional organization couldn't see them, right? And now they can layer on top and have a more significant role and a bigger impact in the company. So you're taking somebody away from these mindless automated tasks, and you're elevating them to be able to tap into their own intelligence, not just artificial intelligence. And now what you have happen is actually everybody loves and respects their job and can matriculate higher within the company. But what people were doing initially is they're getting rid of this layer. People who were doing tasks and saying, you're just doing tasks. I can bring in, a machine to do that. I can bring in AI to do that. But you know what happened then? When that middle layer is gone, just like when you erase the middle class of a culture, the culture collapses. And when you erase that person and only have AI, the person who was more senior now has to do the oversight on a lower level job, and they resent it as well. And so you've messed up the structure and the strength of your company by not understanding what you need to do. So what is the key here? What are we talking about? The key is that you actually need to understand the roles that you're trying to build, the roles that each person has in the company where you're trying to take them. And this whole concept is what we do as AI workforce designers, is coming in as the consultant to see this is what's happening in the company. This is where you're trying to take the company. And then now let's have a strategic process and a plan and a rollout for agentic interactions in your company. And this is not something you get by adding in a chat bot or having AI do your mail. what happens there, the reason that doesn't work, the reason more than 85% of companies, it's actually 84% of companies say they're not getting a return on their investment in AI yet, is because they have just been piecemealing things, trying to partner pieces and different softwares and AIs together, thinking this one will start it, this one will finish it. It doesn't work. Right? You have too many disparate parts going in different directions with different agendas. They're not speaking the same language. And at that point where they meet, that is the dividing line. That is the crack in the Ming vase that shatters everything. And this is why you need to have AI workforce designers come in and look at the overall, give you a structure, give you a plan, and then you can follow that. You can follow it on your own. You can do it with us. You can do it without us, right? So if you're at this point where you're like, I know I need to go there, I just don't know how to go yet, and I might not even be ready right now, but I know I want to set it up, right? Sort of like you set up the bowling pins at the end of the aisle. You might not pick up the ball yet and roll it down, but you know you need to get everything set up. That's where we come in, and that's where you want to call in an AI workforce designer or one of myself or my team, and we'll come in and take a look at your business. We'll do tips on your business, find out what is the gap, where are the leaks, where are the opportunities, and then give yourself like a rating so you can see exactly what you need to put in first, next, and next. And then have it all in one synchronous place. You don't need multiple platforms and all these different people running different projects in your business. You can put it all into one unified system, and this is your own biosphere where the AI lives. And so we talked about this, that there's 2 layers in every business, right? And so you're going to have the human on top, right? This is where they handle status updates, the assembly checklists, doing the authoritative layer, okay? And then at the bottom layer, that's where you have the judgment. That's the human underneath, okay? They can read the room. They can see the nuances and understand when people call what's really going on. They kind of catch the drift. They hear the hard calls. They can go, oh, I know this, right? And this is the part that AI cannot fake. So this is where it gets interesting, right? So every role actually has 2 jobs that stack together, the admin and the judgment. And if you're not looking at it this way, you only have 50% of a chance at success with this. So this is why we are always saying, make sure you look at the 2 sides of this. As you're looking at your entire workforce, what are the 2 parts of it? And then which one is developed, which one is underdeveloped? Right? So sometimes it's really a little bit of laziness because people are just trying to rush in and get it done, and it doesn't work. So we want you to do it the intelligent way and make sure you understand all the different layers. For example, you might have a customer service person, right? And they're an account coordinator, and they might do the scheduling, might put together hundreds of, slide decks, do checklists and QA and follow some SOPs. But when you know you can automate that, now what happens is they move, all right? Remember, you don't destroy the role. Now what you're doing is you're moving that role over. Now they become more of a client outcome coordinator or owner. And that way they can see more of this human to human connection that AI just can't see, because the way it's being built now, it doesn't remember, oh, this happened this time and this happened this time. It works a little bit in reverse. We're going to talk about that next week. And when you don't understand the methodology that your technology is operating with, you're going to create some havoc. So this is just an example. If you want to see something, like depending on the type of your business, I want to give you some place that you can go right now. And you can go to morgentic.com. That's MORGEN, like an engine, TIQ. Okay, so morgentic.com, and you can see then how do these AIs talk to each other? How does it actually work in action? And then we can even show you on a demo for your own business, if you're B2B or you're service-based, or maybe you're even e-commerce. What would happen in the first 30 days, the first 60 days, 90 days, 120 days? And then how does that impact your bank balance? So if you'd like to see something like that, you can go to moregentic.com. You can also come to one of our workshops. We do an online and an in-person workshop every single month. And we would love to invite you to one of our workshops. And they're AI workforce design intensives, 2 hours, actually rolling up your sleeves, actually building out the AI in your business, actually walking away with a roadmap of what you need to do in your business. And when you come in person, we're going to do the tips session, that MRI into your business live for you. Okay. So there's no secrets. It's everything in person. And it's less than a dozen CEOs that are coming. If you're just starting or you don't own your business, this isn't for you. This is for serious CEOs that are ready to move forward. And so again, how can you look at these roles differently? How can you reshape them instead of just doing, cleaning house on roles? Why don't you actually plan it? Okay. And this is where we come in. You can just have a planning session if that's all you need. So now people are always worried about, oh, the cost of payroll. The payroll is so high. But now you can have the same person. You could even have the same payroll. But now that person has a higher seat. And just like if you promote somebody, you notice when you promote somebody, they usually perform at a different level. The same thing is going to happen here. Now, are there people that you're going to need to let go? Absolutely. That is going to happen in some cases, but not on this wholesale basis, and not to have this panic attack in the marketplace thinking that, oh my gosh, everyone's going to lose their job. Okay. So, by the way, we are hiring. So if you are one of the people thinking, oh, I might not have a job, and you are fascinated by AI and want to get certified in AI workforce design, come talk to us. And help out the businesses that are looking to adopt this into their business. So we are hiring right now. You can go to jobs.theiconicbrands.com and go ahead and apply for one of the roles that we have there. So again, what we're trying to do is elevate people rather than destroy them. And this is where your company will really shine. Because here's the thing. What does actually happen when you decide to make a cut, right? There's a shift that happens. And I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but here's what actually happens is that there's what's called institutional memory, okay? And there's years of why things are the way they are, right? And when you get rid of people wholesale, that's gone. The people that really knew the ins and out of your business is gone. Those trusted client relationships that took years and years to build, gone. And the invisible judgment, right? The work between the task that a lot of people did, even though it wasn't even in their job description. Guess what? You erased all of these things. These are the intangible aspects of your business that do not just get picked up in a quick day-to-day transfer from somebody's out and AI is in. And this is why you want to have a plan. And it's just like you would have a legacy plan. If a CEO leaves a company, you want to know who's going to step into that. You also need to know what is the legacy plan with your people. And there's, that invisible asset. This is what we're talking about. You do not want to destroy that. It's like having a hidden message in a bottle. You didn't realize there was something powerful in there until it's gone. Like, oh, you hid it in there. There's a value inside each of your employees, and you don't want to destroy it. You want to actually tap into it and let it get absorbed by the AI without disrespecting the people. Of course, some layoffs and things will be inevitable, and that's going to be common. However, The day you do the layoffs, guess what? Your best people are going to update their resumes that night. And it's really interesting because it's causing a big morale problem, right? You think that I'm saving some money short term, and it's actually like a loan with very brutal interest rates. And what happens is you didn't just cut your weakest link, you spooked your strongest link. You can save some money on the salary on day one, but the best people that night, do you know what they're going to do? They're going to fire up a new resume. They're going to prepare in case what you did to them is going to come their way. You erode your morale when you do it like this. So you've lost the trust, the continuity that you had. And you know what else happens? Like we talked about with a couple of these companies when we started, is that then 8 months down the road, you're paying a recruiter really high rates again to try and find that knowledge and bring it back. But it's not the people that you let go that are often going to come back. Now you have new people who don't know that hidden secret in that bottle, right? So don't be so ruthless without a plan. If you're thinking you need to lay off, then bring us in for workforce design to come up with a plan. If you know you want to bring in AI, bring us in to design the layout, to figure out who goes where and when. So what we're trying to tell you is that you want to redraw the map before you cut anything, okay? And don't think, oh, I have to do this in a hurry. No, I want you to pivot, but you don't have to pivot fast with this. And so you want to make sure all the roles are redrawn before you start touching any of the people and moving anything around. So you don't just sit down again at that chessboard and start moving pieces. You actually have to understand the rules of the game. Chess and checkers are two completely different sports, if you will. And what are you playing? Chess or checkers? If you're trying to play checkers with your team, you are going to have a rude awakening in your company. This is a chess game. This is a pivot, but it is a slow pivot. And you want to make sure that your company is completely prepared as you're going along. So what is this number? What if that number in your head that I asked you about when we first started, what's the number in your head that you're thinking about, that how many people do you need to cut in your business? What if you could take that number to 0 and increase the profitability even faster? So here's a couple things that you can do. Here's 3 things that I want to share with you. Number 1 is you can actually go and take the quiz. You can go take the owner's bottleneck quiz. There's going to be a link down below, and you can take that quiz. You can also go to the Iconic Edge. That is our newsletter on Substack where we keep our videos and podcasts and everything else. Go to the iconicedge.com and you can get a deep dive into this topic and a lot of downloads and the agentic action guide. And of course, you can go have an intensive where you actually learn how to do this for your business specifically with a room of roundtable of other CEOs, and that is in our agentic workshop. And so that intensive is both live and online. You can choose either one. They're all good. And we have them once a month each. So we're very limited on who can attend, and we're also picky on who can attend, because if you're just not even there, we'll let you know. And if we feel like you're not quite ready for that workshop, we'll give you things that you can do to prepare and get your business ready so that you can come back at the right time, and you will be surrounded with 7 and 8 figure business owners. So usually the business owners are $1 million and up that are coming to that. So bottom line, nobody has to go, and you don't have to lay off everybody just because you're bringing in AI. The real question is, are you doing it the right way? Are you doing it at the right time? And do you actually have a strategic plan? So we would love to get you one, get you a tips assessment so you can see inside your business what's going on, what are the leaks, what are the gaps, and what are the opportunities that you can grow your business, and use AI workforce design to actually come out on top when it comes to AI, rather than being one of these companies that makes big mistakes and ends up going backwards and regretting their whole decision. So next week, we're going to continue on this deep dive on AI workforce design. How do you get ready? And I've been promising you the AI readiness test. We're going to do that next week to see exactly what it is. And we're going to talk some hard numbers about payroll and staff. And because this is actually a math problem, and we're going to show you exactly what we mean. So this week we talked about the physics. Next week we're going to talk about the math, but I promise you it'll be interesting. See you next Tuesday, 2 p.m. Pacific time. We are live. This is me, no AI, and we're always live. We've been live for 7 years, so we want to hear from you. And if you have any questions, just reach out. Go to callconnie.com, and we're happy to help you at any point. Thanks for being here. Be iconic.